Hey, how's it going? It's Breaking Vegas with Garrett Thornton, week 2 of the NFL season, Oregon Sports News, OregonSportsNews.com. We're glad to be here with you again today. Happy Friday. Let's get going. Each week I pick 5 games against the spread for the upcoming NFL season. Last week wasn't great. 1-4, 20% win percentage. But I take a little solace in the fact that I did win one game. The Cincinnati Bengals have played 2 games and they haven't scored 1 touchdown. So I'm doing a little better than they are at this point. This week, I love the slate of games ahead. The one game that I'm most excited about is my upset special of the week. I'll pick that 5th, but we'll start with one of the worst games of the week that I think the underdog's going to cover. Arizona at Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a 7.5 point underdog. Arizona is not a great team. David Johnson is out, possibly for the season with that wrist injury, had surgery this week. John Brown, he's out for this week, maybe moving forward. So they're missing a ton of weapons. And so I'm not confident in Arizona. Carson Palmer looked old. On the other side of the ball, Indianapolis looked terrible. They looked like the worst team in football with Scott Tolzien at quarterback. Jacoby Brissett is their starting quarterback going into Sunday. I don't know how much more faith I have in him, but it's a little bit more interesting. Marlon Mack showed some promise, the rookie running back, and so I have a little bit more faith in Indianapolis at home than I do Arizona. I think in the end Arizona wins the game, but I think they win the game by a field goal, and the Colts cover the 7.5 point spread. The next game, Minnesota at Pittsburgh. Minnesota looked like one of the best teams in the league. Sam Bradford couldn't miss. Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen looked like the 1-2 punch of the century. But that's what happens after week 1 of the NFL season. Everybody overreacts. So when you look at the lines of these games, there's a lot of 14, 9, 7, 8. Those are all overreactions. This is a league that's largely played 3 to 7 points every single week will determine who wins the game. Minnesota, I think people are overreacting. They played in a primetime game against a Hall of Fame quarterback. I think it was a big spot for Minnesota. It was a big win, but I don't have a ton of faith in them moving forward, especially against big-time talent like the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell. Last week they played Cleveland. Didn't look great. They won the game by 3, but that was on the road. It's well known Ben Roethlisberger isn't the best on the road. Now they go home. Le'Veon Bell looks for a bounce-back game. Antonio Brown's the best receiver in the league. Pittsburgh's a 6-point favorite. I think they win this game by a touchdown and cover that 6 points. The next game, Cleveland at Baltimore. Baltimore, just like Minnesota, a ton of people are overreacting. They looked great against Cincinnati, held them to 0 points. But after seeing the Thursday night game where Cincinnati was terrible, they fired their offensive coordinator today. There's issues in Cincinnati. Baltimore exploited that in week 1. The Houston Texans did that in week 2. Cleveland looks to do that. Cleveland looks to bounce back from their opening loss against Pittsburgh with Baltimore at Baltimore. Cleveland's a 9-point underdog in this. Deshaun Kaiser didn't look terrible in his opening game as a rookie quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. There's weapons there. I think that Cleveland covers the 9-point spread. I just don't believe in Baltimore's offense long term. I don't think they have the weapons to be explosive. And not being explosive, I think that Cleveland's defense has the talent to keep Baltimore down to a low-scoring game. It's not going to get out of hand where the Ravens can win by 10 or 14 points. I think Cleveland loses by a field goal, maybe 6 points, but either way they cover the 9-point spread. The next one, the Jets. They're terrible. They're heading to Oakland. Oakland is one of the legitimate contenders in the AFC. Derek Carr, Amari Cooper, Michael Crabtree. You saw Marshawn Lynch. He looked like old Marshawn Lynch. Not old as in aging Marshawn Lynch, but like the Marshawn Lynch we were used to in Seattle. And so that Jets defense stands no chance against this Oakland offense. This is the opposite of what I just said in Cleveland-Baltimore. I don't trust Baltimore's offense to be explosive. I think Oakland's offense is going to be explosive against New York. Oakland is a 14-point favorite. I never pick 14-point favorites to cover the spread. That's too many points. But early on in the season, Oakland's healthy. The Jets are really bad. They're trying to get a top couple picks so they can get Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, one of those top quarterbacks in next year's draft. I don't blame them. You need a franchise quarterback in this league. Oakland has that in Derek Carr. I think Oakland covers that mammoth 14-point spread and beats the Jets in week 2. And now the game that I've been waiting for, the game that I'm most excited about this week, is Green Bay at Atlanta. These are two of the top contenders in the NFC. I think that both teams will make the playoffs. Last week you saw Green Bay really manhandle the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are better than they showed last week, but I also think the Green Bay Packers are really legit. And so I think that Green Bay, they're underdogs by 3 points in Atlanta. I think Green Bay wins this game. I think they win the game by a touchdown. One of the X factors in this game, last year Atlanta's defense was the worst against receiving running backs. Last week, Tariq Cohen, a guy that no one knew his name, now everyone has him on their fantasy team. Last week, Tariq Cohen for the Chicago Bears had a mammoth day against Atlanta. Who's the running back for Green Bay? He wears number 88. His name's Ty Montgomery. He used to be a wide receiver. He's going to run and catch passes all over Atlanta's defense. They're going to win the game by a touchdown. There's going to be questions about Atlanta. Can they make it back to the Super Bowl? Don't overreact. It's week 2 of the NFL season. It's a long season. They're fine. They still have Julio Jones. They still have Matt Ryan. They're going to be fine. But the Green Bay Packers, they're just a better team. They're more complete. They're more well-rounded. I like that defense. They showed what they can do against that Seattle offense. Not that that offense is great, but they really held them down, didn't let them have a touchdown. It was an impressive performance by Green Bay in week 1. Now, the one thing to watch with Green Bay is that both of their tackles are questionable going into Sunday. One has an illness and one has just nicks and dings, but I think they'll both play, and I think Green Bay wins that game by a touchdown. So to recap the 5 picks, Arizona at Indianapolis. I'm picking Indianapolis to cover the spread. They're a 7.5-point underdog. I think that Arizona wins the game by a field goal, but I think Indianapolis covers the spread. Minnesota at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh at home is a much better team than on the road. They're a 6-point favorite. Take Pittsburgh, eat the points. I think that they'll be just fine. They'll win by a touchdown. Cleveland as a 9-point underdog at Baltimore. I just don't think Baltimore's offense has what it takes to blow out the Cleveland defense, which really is a much more talented defense than we're used to seeing from Cleveland in the last few years, just because of the accumulation of draft picks they've had. The New York Jets go on the road to Oakland. Oakland's going to blow the doors off that game. They're going to win it by 17, 20 points. The spread's 14. Pick Oakland as the favorite in that game. And then Green Bay on the road in Atlanta, Sunday Night Football. Green Bay is the underdog by a field goal. They're going to win the game by a field goal or a touchdown. And I feel pretty comfortable about that upset special of the week. I just think Green Bay is a better team. So last week I was 1-4. And so I had a conversation with a couple friends today, and they think that I need to make a guarantee. So what I'm going to guarantee is that this week I will do better than 1-4, or else you can choose the punishment. In the comments of this video, choose what the punishment's going to be if I don't do better than 1-4 next week. Be creative. One of my friends wants me to wear a Seahawks jersey next week as I do my 5 picks. I am not a Seahawks fan. I absolutely despise the Seahawks in a lot of ways. So that's one idea. Another one wants my wife to pie me in the face while I do this video next week. So just be creative in the comments. Tell me what my punishment should be next week if I don't do better than 1-4. But just for a little context, the last time I went 1-4 in my Breaking Vegas picks was week 3 of last season. And so I've almost gone a full season with better records than 1-4. That was a fluky thing. Things will get better. This week I'm going to come back. We're going to get back to 500, and then we're going to get a winning season for the year. So leave those punishment ideas down below. We'll use them throughout the season, have a little bit of fun with these videos. So last week I showed you my Des Bryant ball. I'm going to show you a piece of memorabilia every week. This week I've been watching a ton of baseball. The playoff push is on. The AL wildcard race is incredible. And so I've been watching the Mariners because they're the home team, but I've been watching every game that I can. The Indians have won 22 in a row. It's been incredible. And so I wanted to pull out one of my favorite baseball memorabilia pieces. I know I'm a Mariners fan. I love the home team Mariners, but I'm also a huge Mike Trout fan. He's the best player in the game. And I went to see the Angels play the Mariners last year, sat behind the Angels dugout. I got a ball signed by Mike Trout. It sits right here in my man cave. It's one of my favorite pieces of memorabilia. I think that he's one of those guys where you watch him on TV and you're like, he's a heck of a baseball player. I saw him live. That is a mammoth human being. I am amazed at how big some of those baseball players are. You go to a football game, it's the same thing. They look big on TV. They're even bigger in person. Thanks for watching Breaking Vegas. Check us out, OregonSportsNews.com. Follow, like us on Facebook, Oregon Sports News. On Twitter, we're at Oregon Sport News. On Twitter, I'm at Portland Garrett. We're going to share this video around. Share it with your friends. Mock me if I go 1-4 again, and then there will be a fun punishment next week. Share your punishment ideas in the comments section. Be creative. Keep it appropriate, but let's have some fun. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the slate of football. I really am looking forward to Sunday Night Football. Green Bay is a 3-point underdog. Take that one all day.